Hello everyone, welcome back for Orgo 2's experiment, the student project. Alright, this one's a little weird. So this actual pre-lab video is going to focus mostly on kind of what you need to do or think about when you're writing your lab report. Alright, it's not going to go based off the standard procedure that you've done. Alright, actually when you do your lab report, you're going to have to go through all of this information. At the very end of this posting in the manual, you're going to see forms that you have to fill out. There we go. All right, so you will have a solid analysis form and you will have a liquid analysis form. And so for this, you can see that for the solid unknown, you're going to put the identity and the melting point. Then you're going to talk about IR, all right, and then some more information here for IR. What does it mean? How did you interpret it? You're going to then talk about all of the possibilities that you could come up with. And then in this case, what you're doing is you're looking at about 5 or 6 options that were close to the melting point. All right, you're going to use the IR to tell you what functional group was present. All right, and why is that important? Because if you look, each table is named based off the functional group. So you have tertiary, this table 13 is based off tertiary amines that are in the liquid form. You also have table 12, which is primary and secondary amines that are in their solid form. All right, and so you have some kind of hints there to help you. The IR will give you that functional group, and then we will be providing you with either the melting point or the boiling point. Okay, and so from there, what that's going to do is you say, okay, well, based off the melting point, the boiling point, and the functional group, I have about these, 3 to 6 options. Okay, and then here you're also going to see where you analyze the NMR, whether it's proton NMR or carbon-13 NMR. Then you're also going to analyze the mass spec. Okay, and so just make sure that you read through these, answer all the relevant questions. Okay, and then you're going to essentially repeat this process for the liquid unknown that you are given. Okay, so with that, things to kind of remember here as I scroll, right? You have pages upon pages of tables that contain the possibility of any of these unknowns, right? You're looking at somewhere close to 1,000 different compounds that you could be looking at, all right? So you'll need to know the boiling point. That'll help kind of narrow it down for you, right? So if you know the boiling point, and if you know the functional group, oh, I knew it was an aldehyde that was a liquid, and I knew it had a boiling point of say 132 to 137, right? So if you look 132 to 137, you're really going to want to look somewhere in this 129 to 136 range, right? So you can see there I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 options. Okay, and so how are you going to decide which one of these 6 it is? That's where the spectra will help you. Look at the proton NMR, look at the carbon-13, look at the mass spec. Why do you think you would want to look at the mass spec first? I can pretty much guarantee you that of these 6 options, right, not all of them have the exact same molar mass. So use the mass spec to tell you the molar mass. It's called a parent peak, people. Go find it. All right, and then so also I'm going to post this, or you should see this in the same module, but it's kind of like a little helpful guide for you, the student project workflow. All right, so this student project workflow that we have here, this is the information that you will be given. Either myself or the TA will give you this information. You will get IR, mass spec, proton, and carbon-13 NMR spectra for each unknown. You're going to have 2, both a liquid and a solid. You will also be given the boiling point or the melting point of each unknown. All right, and then also you will be given the solubility of that unknown. Okay, so with that solubility, here's the caveat. I'm only telling you what it's soluble in. I'm not telling you all the other stuff that it's insoluble in. So you're going to have to use that flow chart to make some interpretations here. All right, and then also the experiment video that's going to be posted for the student project is only really going to highlight what something looks like when it's actually soluble versus insoluble, or miscible, immiscible. And then it's also going to kind of show you, like, here's what, when we do, say, the chromic acid test, right? Here's what the negative test result would look like. Here's what the positive test result would look like. So you see something visual to help you with that. All right. And so anyway, based off this, all of these 4 points that are given, paying particular attention to the first 3 points, you want to create the missing components that would be in the solubility flowchart, right? So go to where it's soluble in the flowchart. I want you to outline what else up to that point it would have been insoluble in. That's kind of what I'm asking for here. All right, next up, you want to identify the functional groups from the IR, right? That was also one of the first steps in the form, so it's a good idea to start from there. Identify the functional groups from the IR. And with that, you do need to be able to correctly write the chemical test reactions that would have been positive chemical tests, okay? And you have to be specific, right? You need to know specifically what your unknown compound is, and in that reaction, you have to use that specific compound. All right, then from there, as you saw in the forms, you do have to interpret the IR, the mass spec, the proton, and the carbon-13 NMR. And then I also want to see a correct determination for your unknown, as well as you drawing the chemical structure correctly. All right. From that, you should be all well to do and ready to go. The pre-lab quiz is pretty much, there's a lot of content there, and so with that, at least for this pre-lab quiz, I am okay if you use the lab manual to answer those questions. Specifically, there are at least 2 of the 3 questions you won't be able to answer without looking at these annoying tables chock full of information. Good luck and goodbye.